Today we are doing Math 6, Mission 7, Lesson 7. Comparing numbers and distance from 0. Remember, distance, we learned a word for distance, absolute value. All right, let's use absolute value and negative numbers to think about elevation. All right, use the number line to help you solve. A is a rational number. So that could be positive or negative number. It's a rational number. Choose the value for A and plot it on the number line. So let's choose, this is A. How far is that? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll say A is 4. Based on where you plotted A, plot negative A on the same number line. Well, we said A is 4, so negative A would be 1, 2, 3, 4 here, which is negative 4. What is the value of negative A that you plotted? It's negative 4. Noah says if A is a rational number, negative A will always be a negative number. Do you agree with Noah? Explain your reasoning. Well, a rational number could be positive or negative. So in this case, with A equaling 4, then negative A is negative 4. So I would say, yes, that's true. However, we could have said A equals negative 6. So if A equals negative 6, then negative A would equal a negative 6. And I know that sounds weird, a negative and a negative, but if what this is saying is that we are doing the opposite of this, right? So what is the opposite of negative 6? Well, if I go here, negative 6, the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. So negative A in this case becomes 6. And so is a negative A, is it always going to be negative? No, it's not, because we just showed you when you do a negative of a negative, it actually becomes a positive. Okay, so let's do activity 1. A submarine is at an elevation of negative 100 feet. And we have this nice little picture over here to help us with this. And negative 100 feet is 100 feet below sea level. Compare the elevations of these 4 people to that of the submarine. All right. Claire's elevation is greater than the elevation of the submarine. So greater than the elevation of the submarine. So that means it has to be above the submarine. Claire is farther from sea level than the submarine. Okay, so we have a distance. She's farther from that. So if I were going to make Claire blue, that means she is greater than the elevation, so it has to be above here, right? But she's farther from sea level than the submarine. So the distance from 0 that the submarine is 100. So that means Claire has to be above, so right in here, above 100. So where do we want to put Claire? We could put her at 150, 200. Let's put her at 150. All right, so 150 is Claire. Let's do Andre. Andre's elevation is less, so less than the elevation of the submarine. So that means Andre's going to be down here. Andre is farther, there's that distance, farther away from sea level than the submarine. So if the submarine is at 100, Andre has to be further than that. So let's put Andre, let's say he's pretty deep. Let's put Andre at 200 right here. So this is going to be Andre. Then we have Han. Han's elevation is greater than the elevation of the submarine. So it's got to be above negative 100. But Han is closer to sea level than is the submarine. So Han has to be, so he's greater, right? But he's closer to sea level than the submarine. So he's got to be under 100 feet. to make him closer to there. So he's got to be somewhere here. So let's put him at the 50. So this is Han. Okay. Then finally, we have Lin. Lin's elevation is the same distance away from sea level as the submarine. So the submarine's at 100. So what's the opposite of negative 100? Sorry. So the opposite of negative 100 is 100. So this has to be Lin. Complete the table as follows. Write the possible elevation for each person. Use less than, greater than, or equal to compare the elevation of that person to that of the submarine. Use absolute value to tell how far away the person is from sea level, elevation 0. So, for example, they've done Claire for us. So Claire is at 150 feet. Compared to the submarine, 150 is greater than negative 100. But the distance from sea level, or the absolute value of 150 is 150 feet. Okay, so let's do Andre. Andre is, we put him at negative 200 feet. So we need to compare negative 200 to negative 100. Is negative 200 less than negative 100, greater than, or equal to? Well, negative 200 is below negative 100, so negative 200 is less than negative 100. But the absolute value of negative 200, so the distance from 0 to negative 200, is 200 feet, because you're still traveling that 200 feet distance. Let's do Han. Han's possible elevation is 50 feet. 50 is less than, greater than, or equal to negative 100. Well, it's above negative 100, so it's actually greater than negative 100. And the absolute value of 50 is 50 feet, because it's the distance away from 0. You have to travel 50 feet to get to 50 feet. All right, let's do Lin. Lin is 100 feet in elevation. So compared to the submarine, 100 feet is greater than, less than, or equal to. This is kind of weird, right? Because it's an opposite, but does that make it equal to? It really doesn't. $100, getting $100 is a lot better than giving away $100, right? So 100 is greater than negative 100. But we have the absolute value of 100, and it is 100 feet, which is the same as the absolute value of negative 100. Okay? Pre-assessor elevation is less than the submarines. So if we were going to do Priya, hers would be less than 100. And she says she's closer to sea level. Is this possible? She's less than 100, but closer to 0? That doesn't make sense. So no, it is not possible. You can either be less, like lower, or you can be closer. You can't be both. So lower or closer, not both. Okay. Use the numbers and symbols below to write true comparison statements. So this is supposed to be partner work. I want you to do 2 of these. I'm going to do one for you, and then you have 2 others that I would like you to do. So you're going to use these numbers, and you're going to do a comparison, either greater than, less than, or equal to. And then you're going to write a statement, right? So for instance, I can do the absolute value of negative 8 is equal to 8, because the distance from 8 and the distance from negative 8 is the same. So then I would come down here and I would say absolute value of -8 is equal to 8. So see how I'm using the terms here, right? Okay, so you have 2 more that I want you to do using these numbers. And then you can review your lesson summary.